All right, welcome back. So sound looks good. I'm going to continue with Hugging Face Agents course. So the Unit 2 should be released yesterday, but I couldn't get it until today. Um, so let's take a brief look at my Unit 1 project. So we can see we go to Hugging Face. Hugging Face is a replacement for a lot of different things. It's a replacement for social media like Twitter and Facebook. It's a replacement for things like GitHub. It's a replacement um, uh, for API endpoints. It can serve as an API endpoint to get data from and to run models from. So it's a one-stop shop for all things pretty much. So if I just say hello to my project that I made, we should see a response back from it. Now, if we don't see that response, it just depends on the saturation of the internal resources. It's kind of this is a free resource, so sometimes they're a little bit strapped for resources. So what we can do is go into the files and modify which model. So if we go down to the yeah, so it's the agent code. Um, you can use a different so the model. So if the agent does not answer, the model is overloaded. Please use another model or the following endpoint. Um, but it looks like enough people in the course because I'm taking this course with a lot of other people, so I think it's very likely that the model will become overloaded. So the so let's try another. Let's go back to the original model ID here. So I just need to go up and click Edit, and we'll say back to the original model ID. All right. We'll say model not responding, responding, switching original model, and I'll say AWS model endpoint not responding. All right, let's commit those changes to main. Go back over to the app. So we can see now it's building the image, is doing CI/CD on it. Continuation integration, continuous development. So it kicked off the build pipeline. So it's building a container, and we should see it in running state. So yeah, now it's in running state. We can verify that up here, and hopefully this new model now responds. Okay, so it looks like neither of the models are responding. So let's try a third unique model. And then if that doesn't work, let's go back to the AWS endpoint um, and, uh, and use that. So we're going to need to go to Files, App, Edit, and now we're going to change out this model for a unique model that's unlikely to be oversaturated by other users of the course. So I'm going to the homepage of Hugging Face. I'm going to go to Models, and let's use Llama 27B because Llama 27B should work on my local hardware. So let's get a sense for how sophisticated that is. Yeah, so and chat is better. So we've got Llama 27B chat HF. So HF stands for like Hugging Face. I think it's like fine-tuned for Hugging Face. And then it looks like we have another one here. Meta Llama 2. So we can either get it for chat dash H. So it's just like we've got a lot of different options here. Let's go with the first option. So here we go. We get this handy copy up there to get the ID of the model. So let's put the ID of the model in the code. Okay, and the ID will just contain this without the path. There we go. And then we're going to say still app still not responding. Using rare model to avoid oversaturation. And then here in the details, I'm going to say llama 27B is likely to work well on my RTX 2060. All right, so change there. Now let's see if this works. Now that there's a different model, so it should go to now it's in building state. Now it's in restarting state. So it should go to running state. There we go. So the model was valid. There weren't any. If I put in the full path there, I don't think it would have been valid. We can look back through the build and see specifically where it pulls that model down. Um, I think the model should be called out in the build. Well, maybe not. I don't see it in there. Let's see if I can. There. This is much better. So, hmm. So I'm seeing a mount target. Okay. Yeah, so this looks like it's just building out the container, and then I think the model will go in the container once it's built. So it's not going to show up here if it would show up at all. And it looks like we don't have the all the details there. So um, let's just try it. All right, so still not working, which is completely unexpected. So actually, I think I do see the problem. So see how the example model ID does contain the full path, Gwen slash. I think that is the problem. This whole thing, meta dash llama slash, needs to go in there. So I wish I could have seen that in the logs, but I think this will solve the issue. Uh, Okay, so full path to model is required. Save commit changes to main. Go back to here. Take a look at the build out. It should go to running. So I'll take a quick yeah, and it was missing. Okay, so it still doesn't say anything about the model. I think that's just the way it is, but it is in running state. So let's see if it works. Huh, and it still doesn't work. All right, I'll take a pause. I'll be right back. All right, and I'm back. So pretty concerning that it doesn't work. Let's try to troubleshoot it. It might be just a product of the oversaturation. But the thing is with that is it should be solved by using this rarer model that's not likely to be oversaturated. So I think what's going on is um, I don't think this is because there's no let's go back to this that has worked before. I've seen this work before, so let's go back to that. And let's see if there's any new messages in the log that might indicate that it has the correct model ID. And the other thing is, let's take a look at what features this at what this class has, what features this class has available, and let's see if we can add more logging. Okay, so I've got to get a terminal up, which is proving to be quite difficult. All right, so there's a terminal after way too many clicks. Then we're going to go into Python. Actually, let's go into uh, Windows Subsystem for Linux by typing bash. There we go, and go to my home drive, and I've got a folder just for Hugging Space. I've got a virtual environment already set up, so I'll activate that, and then go into IPython 3. All right, and now let's play around with this HF API model. So I'll just put this whole line in there because it's okay if there's some extra stuff, and I'm lazy. So, um, okay, so we've got no module there, so we're gonna have to install it. Now we can use a magic method since we're in IPython and do pip install small agents like that. But we need to upgrade pip. Okay, now there's two, yeah. So the other thing you could do is a exclamation point there, but the thing is when you do an exclamation point, it just runs it in Bash and it doesn't include the results in this running instance of Python. So that's the difference between these two, as far as I understand it. It's probably a rudimentary understanding, but if you want to do something like pip install, definitely use the percent rather than the exclamation point. Okay, so there's no small agents. So let's try it outside of the environment. Pip install small agents. Okay, let's try UV pip install small agents. Okay, let's do sudo apt-get UV. Uh, okay. Okay, so it's not, this is not how you get small agents. So let's figure out how to set up small agents locally. We'll just go to Google and then search for it, and the first hit is the place to be. So we'll look at the installation section of the README. So I'll do Control F. So first step is to install the package. So that is the step that has been going wrong. Okay, well that's not good that that's the first step. All right, let's go to straight to the LLM. Why not? Okay, so it looks like we can install it from source by feeding it the URL for the project. So we'll verify that this isn't hallucinated. So let's take a look. Okay, so it is going to be different. So we'll use that one instead of what it hallucinated there. And yeah, so let's do that. Okay, and now we're using the actual source code. So I think this is why it wasn't found. Um, it's not compatible with uh, version 3 10 of Python. If so, the LLM should be able to call that out. We can see the problem, and this is why it wasn't found in pip. I would bet is that the Python version is too much. Oh, actually, it's the other way around. My Python version is out of date, so that's a good thing because then all I have to do is bring my yeah. So my version is pretty far out of date. So all I have to do is bring my version up to date, which is something I would like to do anyway. So okay, so let's deactivate the virtual environment and get the repository for Python, and then install the latest version. Okay, and it doesn't find it. We can see there was this error here. There was no valid open PGP key found. So let's feed all of this into the LLM and see if that can get fixed. So the user is trying to install 3.1, but it's not, yeah. So since I'm on Debian Bullseye, so let's take a look at what I'm on. So we're going to do cat etc os release. Yeah, so I'm just on a plain Debian Bullseye machine. I'm not using Ubuntu, anything like that. So Yeah. Okay, so PPA is only supported on things like Ubuntu machines. So let me go back to my. Yeah, you know what? I don't want to. Let me get rid of RF Hugging Face. Okay. I don't want to do Hugging Face stuff on this instance of Windows subsystems. So let's do WSL dash dash list. And then let's create a new one. First let's tell the LLM. Okay, so I actually am using this Debian Windows subsystem for Linux machine for something else, and I don't want to get it conflated with what I'm doing here as a part of this chat, like setting up this SMLLAGENTS package, like setting up this package, Like I don't want that to happen on this Debian instance. So how do I create a new um, Windows subsystem for Linux machine that is like optimized for this sort of project and that does not conflate with my prior machine, and that most importantly is not on my default C drive because that drive has very little disk space on it, very little disk space on it, but instead it is on my D drive, which has plenty of disk space. Okay, send that. All right, so let's see if it. Yep, so it's definitely on the right track. Okay, so it thought about it, and this is the answer. So we're going to download a root file system tarball. We're going to choose a distribution. So let's go with 2004. You know what? Let's go with the latest version. We're going to go to this site, and hopefully we can see all the versions that they have available. Uh, okay, so I don't have access to that, unfortunately. Um, but the actual full link, yeah, I have access to. So it would be nice. Um, so let's see. Let's just Google for this search term and look for. So this is 2004. Let's just take a guess. We're gonna go to ubuntu.com. Yep, here. And let's take a look at this download link here. So the latest version is 2404. So let's just take a risk here and do 2404 and see if that works. So okay, so I'm going to copy this in here, uh, paste it in here, but not. Oh, sorry, I'm going to hit escape there so that it doesn't go. Let's make a new file, new text file. Paste this in. All right, and now modify it to 2404. And hopefully the naming is the same. Okay, so now we've got it. Looks like it's that command was successful. So on to the next one. Okay, so next step is to create a directory on the D drive. So we're gonna just run this command. That looks good. Okay. Then we're gonna import the new distribution. So we gotta change this command up as well. Gonna change it to 2404. There we go. All right, now that's gonna take a few minutes. Oh, and we've got an error. So uh, let's give it everything here so far. So I bet you the 2404 wasn't correct. We did verify that the 2004 was. So I think I would like to just use the 2004 as okay. It's a little out of date as long as it works. I don't think it matters that it has to be 24. Yeah, I think this is not, in fact, what it is. Okay, so we can get rid of, in fact, we can actually verify this file. So let me go to my files here. Let me go to my D drive. Okay, and then Wassel. Yeah, so we can see 2404. Look at how small this file is. That's not the right file. The file is going to be bigger than that, I think. Yeah, so it was unusually small. Okay, so let's just go with the original files, and if my version of Ubuntu is a little out of date, that's okay. You can probably update it once it's up and running a bit easier anyway. All right, today is Tuesday. So this looks like it's taking a bit of time. I'm gonna pause it and be back. All right, welcome back. So let's take a look at the stream. So we can see we're writing a lot of bytes, kind of concerning. But this link we verified is working. So this is on the one sense it's a little concerning because I hope I have enough space on my disk, um, but at the same time we know that it's working. So let's check that space on the disk. I'm pretty sure this disk has all the space I could ever want, but we're gonna go to properties. Yeah, and I've got more than half the disk is available. I've got 500 gigs on this disk. This is a 900. It's a one terabyte disk, but you usually don't get a full terabyte because the file system takes up space on it, I believe, and other various reasons. So plenty of disk space. Um, this should be no more than 50 gigabytes. So that's one of the most important things to consider when you're doing development work is how much space do you have and how much space does your development work take up, in addition to memory and CPU. Um, yeah. So these are the now and forever till the end of time issues in computer science is your hardware capacity. But mine should be perfectly fine for this. All I wanted to do here was do a help to just look at the documentation, honestly. So let's just look at the documentation. Like there's no need to look at it this way. Let's just look at the documentation online. We'll be looking at the same thing, and then I won't have to go through all that rigmarole. So let's go to uh, uh, Hugging Face. Yeah, so let's go to huggingface.co. We'll just open another tab here, and then let's go to Docs, and then plug in. Oops. Let's go to small agents. Yep, like that. There we go. So now we've got a doc to small agents. So oops. Yeah. So here we go. Here's the documentation for small agents. So we've got different versions of the documentation, different languages the documentation is written in. It's only written in English. So we've got tutorials, we've got conceptual guides, we've got examples, and we got reference. So I want a reference, and I think this would be a, let's see here. So we're going to import, I think it's probably a, yeah, so it's a model related object, a HF API model. Okay, so yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And if we went to the interpreter shell in Python and did a help on this, we would see the same information, but I have to go through all the rigmarole to download that and get that set up on my local environment, and my local environment just isn't ready for that now. So let's just get the documentation online and use it there. So this is HF API model. Yep, which is the same. So I'll click this to make sure we're at there. I can share this link if I want, and let's take a look at if there's some sort of more advanced logging parameter that we can uh, enable. Okay, so basically what I'm looking for is something here that is so yeah, so I'd look up here. So we got provider, token, timeout, um, custom role conversions, and then we've got keyword arguments. So I think the keyword arguments would be here. So there's additional, yeah, so there's additional keyword arguments. So there might be a keyword argument of log. Let's just take this whole thing here, put this into um, ChatGPT, and ask a question. So when it says, and I can use the voice mode for this. So when it says additional keyword arguments, how can I know which keyword arguments are accepted? Is there anything accepted for enabling more robust logging? Okay, put that on another line and send that off. Okay, so it says in the documentation, it says uh, so keyword arguments, additional keyword arguments to pass to the Hugging Face API. So maybe there's a um, yeah, maybe the Hugging Face API has its own help. So yeah, let's go to interface API, and then let's look at let's look at the reference parameters. So I think this is it. Any of these parameters can be well, maybe that's not it. Okay, so I think these are two keyword arguments you could add, um, but it looks like neither of these have to do with uh, more verbose logging. So the traditional keyword arguments are passed along to the underlying call, means that they aren't. So okay, in other words, depends on what the API reports or the small agent source code forwards. So here's the key. To figure out exactly which parameters you can pass, you have a couple of options. Check the source code or documentation. Look at the source code of it um, to see how keyword arguments are handled. Repository documentation, yeah. Or we can review the Hugging Face Inference API docs. So that's where I went to here. So this is the Inference API. So is this, so are these the, so are these the KW args that are accepted? Are these the only additional ones accepted? Here, here's the GitHub repo for small agents. Okay, so let's feed it that next. All right, so um, get an answer to that. Go back and read the previous one. Okay, so oh, okay. If we could use the logging module, okay. Common debug parameters. So there isn't a built-in. Okay, so no, there's not. Okay, so I was right about this. These are the additional keyword arguments you can use. X wait for model or X use cache. Um, but when it comes to logging, um, there isn't a dedicated keyword argument for that. Instead, you would use Python's logging configuration or check if the underlying API or HTTP has additional logging. Yeah, so do that. Okay, let's go back to the app. Yeah, that's okay. Don't need to see if it responds now because it might just respond now or wasn't responding before because of how utilized that endpoint is. Yeah, right. All right, let's set up this we're gonna enable logging here. So go to agent.py, edit, add more lines here. And we're gonna say comment temporary lines added for logging, and then we're gonna set the end, say end of temporary lines. Okay. All right, and let's set these to info. Info is uh more like, yeah, is okay. We'll get more there. So there we go, and then commit that. All right, and then it'll go through the workflow and make it to the running state. Okay, and now already it looks like we have more logging. See how we have now things for the requests, the GET requests. Yeah, this is more verbose. All right, so now it's in running state. So let's see if it responds. Hello. And now we can see the log um, by getting that panel back that I just got rid of. Oh, here it is. Ah, so here we go. So now we've got so we typed in hello, so new run. There we go, and now we can see everything done by the things we logged for, the request module and the URL lib3 module. So much more to work with here. So we can already see here we've see. So unrecognized URL. Router, yeah, see, so that I didn't give it a valid URL to the model. So this is why logging is so key. Um, you gotta have you gotta know whether or not the URL is valid, and you can only see that sometimes by having logging. Okay, so let's give it a valid URL. Okay, so we're gonna go to edit. Okay, we'll say llama 2 model ID was not valid. And then let's give it the log. So we're gonna say yep, put this in the description. There we go. All right, and now hopefully everything will work. And if it doesn't, we'll see exactly why it doesn't work because of this more robust logging. Okay, so everything is set up. Now let's see what happens when I um, type hello. Ah, there we go. So now we can see hello. So code snippet is not valid. So there's a problem with something there. You haven't provided a specific task. Yeah, so we can see that it's not. It's complaining that I had. So here's what it says. So here's How it responds: hello, it seems like you haven't provided a specific task for me to solve. Could you please provide more details or specify the task you would like me to address? Great response. But we can see its thought process here. The first thing it tries to do is run uh, uh, a Python function, but it doesn't know, it doesn't have one that seems to fit the bill. So the next step in its thought process is uh, to just kind of wander off into the weeds. All right, so let's ask it to draw a picture of a cat and then look at the robust logging for that. So now, so that was, yeah, so now we've got a new run here. I gave it a new prompt. The prompt was draw a picture of a cat. So now the model is going to handle that. So it does that in multiple steps. In step one, right away it knows to do this, and it knows that dog or cat equals cat. And there we go, already right there. Now it does it does another step, which is interesting. I'm kind of not sure why it needs to do another step. Oh, right. So the first step is to execute is to locate the function to run. Then the next section step is to actually run the function. So there we go. It runs it. Here's the final answer, and and there's the ASCII cat. So that was a whole lot for a whole little, but hopefully it helped other people in the course. I know it's kind of a lot to ask for someone to sit down for nearly an hour long video, but if someone's really stuck, this is a great video to look at because the thing that's going to get you unstuck more than anything else is to add in these temporary lines for logging. Because you can see how clear it made it. When I went to the council, we saw uh, that the model ID was invalid, and it just stated that there like super clearly without, whereas before I was just kind of fumbling around in the dark guessing, oh, is this the right ID, is this the wrong ID, and um, I couldn't tell one way or the other. But once I enabled the logging, the moment I gave it a prompt after it was in running state after building the container, I got a logging message that told me whether or not the model ID was valid. All right, so there we go. Kind of lost a lot of time on that. Didn't think that would take me 47 minutes. But let's move on to the next video. So the next video is going to be what is function calling. So this is the bonus unit. We'll do the bonus unit. And then we can see unit 2 is up there now. So I'm going to do the bonus unit and then try to finish unit 2 before the next steps are published. So the next units, if we go to that, we're going to see unit 2.1 was released today, actually. I thought it was going to be released yesterday, so I'm not as far behind as I thought I would be. Um, and unit 2.2 won't be released until next week, so I should have plenty of time to get through everything. I don't have to do something like skip the bonus unit. All right, so with that, I think I'm going to end the video here. It's just too long. It's just gotten to be too long. Um, and then I'll start this what is function calling in its own video because I just don't want to bury it at the end of this video. So thanks for watching. Hope this was really helpful. That's the other thing too. Like I think this will be really helpful to people who are really struggling is just to know how to enable that logging. I think that'll help a lot of people. And then to kind of know where to look for the documentation. I am using ChatGPT o3 Mini High. So I pay $200 a month for that subscription. So people who don't have access to that model might not have as easy of a time figuring this stuff, sort of stuff out as I did. So I want this video to be kind of self-contained to help people, and I want to do the actual material in its own video. So thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next one.